Hey, how's it going? I know this video isn't really recent. I'm almost sure I may have commented on it before, but I wanted to do a video response for it. Um, that's a question I often kind of ask myself because I know it's going to come up later, and people are going to want to know, hey, what do you think is a real sick, real twisted movie? And there's so many to choose from, really. Now that I've kind of made the rounds with different ones like Psycho Snuff Reels and Muzani. Knowing those by name, MASD 4004 is another real tasty one. But to kind of sum up a list here, let me get the obvious one out of the way: a Serbian film. Um, why a Serbian film? Well, because it touches on some subjects that a lot of movies won't touch on. It crossed some lines when it first came out. When I first saw it, I couldn't believe some of the things they did in there. But it had a solid storyline. To me, it had a solid storyline. And it wasn't just random acts of violence. There was like a story you could follow, and it actually had something a little deeper going on than that. But that was one of the harder ones. And also, Death of a Porno Gang, which was also from Serbia. This one, to me, didn't push the line as much as a Serbian film, but it still was pretty strong. It dealt in things like snuff, rape, um, things like that. So it was pretty heavy. Um, but for one that doesn't have a lot of gore in it, but still had a real strong impact, would be The Girl Next Door. Jack Ketchum's The Girl Next Door. The fact that it was based on a true story and that these things were allowed to happen, that nobody tried to help this girl who was obviously being abused, and then it elevated into a thing of where all the neighborhood kids were joining in while her aunt was torturing her and slowly torturing her to death. It really, like you said, with Martyrs, it made you scream at the screen. This is what this movie did for me. It invoked a lot of anger by the end of the movie. So, and I respected that, but the fact that it made me feel that kind of emotion. So, The Girl Next Door is definitely one. August Underground Mortem. Uh, at the end of a Serbian film, you've seen the movie, I'm sure. At the end of a Serbian film, there was one more line left to cross, but they didn't show that. August Underground Mortem crossed that line, and that was the defilement of the corpse in the bathtub. Even though, yeah, we all know it was a fake corpse, but still pretty heavy. And to think that that kind of thing does go on, it's pretty crazy. Regurgitated Sacrifice comes to mind. Out of the three Vomit trilogy movies, I'd have to say Regurgitated Sacrifice really took the ball and ran with it. Of course, excessive amounts of puking. That's what it's all about, right? But the gore level I thought was pushed up a little higher, and the scenes were a little more stark. So I definitely give that one a vote. Um, then, of course, when it comes to things like pornography, that's people would usually think that's an automatic. Aren't they all perverted? Well, no, not really. But a couple of titles come to mind, and one is an old porn with Sharon Mitchell called The Taming of Rebecca. Has a lot of harsh subject matter, incest, molestation, things like that. So that's pretty out there. And one very clearly titled "Perverted Stories." Uh, this one touches on like blood fetish, necrophilia. Mm, yeah, it starts off nasty and only gets nastier. But as far as mainstream movies are concerned, the stuff that you can probably go to any blockbuster and rent, I would have to say probably something along the lines of 8 millimeter. Even though, yeah, okay, it's a Nick Cage movie and it's very mainstream and it's not very shocking, but the subject matter, the idea of a snuff film being made, that's always intrigued me. Um, yeah. Yeah, I like the way it was done. Yeah, it was very Hollywood. It was very safe, but at the same time, there's a line in that movie where Nick Cage is trying to figure out why in the world this man who has all these millions of dollars, who does a lot of charitable things for children, who had everything the world could possibly offer, why in the world would he want a snuff film made? Why did he do it? Why did he have a snuff film made of a young girl? And the lawyer looks at him and very plainly says, because he could. That was a pretty stark, very cold answer. And I've often believed that snuff films exist regardless of what the officials say. The official word on it is that they don't exist, that it's like an urban legend. But I personally do believe you can't live in a world as sick and twisted as this and not have a snuff film floating around somewhere. Someone has made one. Just either someone's covering it up, someone at a higher level covers it up, or the closest thing I've seen to a real snuff film would have to be the Three Guys in a Hammer video, which is a video I won't watch again. I've seen it once, and once was enough. So it pretty much crossed the line. It touched an area in here that I forgot was here. So yeah, it disturbed me. It messed me up for a few days. I didn't want to. That's all I could think about for a few days was that. Don't know why. I watch all this other stuff, but yeah, that's kind of my loose, kind of all over the place video list for shocking, disturbing, perverted videos. Maybe one day someone will take all that stuff and culminate it into one movie and drive us all insane. I'll see you inside, brother, on Wednesdays when they give out pudding. Later.